What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Uncaged Podcast. This is episode 5, and this is the journey to the top 1%. And it's about getting 1% better every day. That's what this podcast is about. And there's going to be a wide range of topics that are going to be covered. A lot of those topics are going to be things that come up in my day-to-day life or come up in conversation through the Men in Uncaged, whether that be in the free group, the VIP group, or anything else that's kind of associated. This is my ecosystem, if you will, is men that are constantly looking for opportunities to better themselves, chances to improve. And I had an onboarding call with a gentleman today, and I'm going to get into the topic here in a second. And I was telling him that it's really, really cool to be around like-minded men. And what does that really look like? You start to breed this environment that when you start to surround yourself with people that are winning in all areas of their life, and maybe not each individual person is winning in all areas of their life, but the members as a whole, the community are winning in all areas of their life. Some people might be better off in their physical health at some points of time based on where they're at, right? Some guys might be better off in their mental health. Some people might be better off in their financial health. Some people might be better off in the health of their relationship, their physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, like whatever this looks like for you. And so it's really, really cool. But one of the topics that we covered on the onboarding call was when you start to surround yourself with like-minded men in the frame that it's okay to be vulnerable. Like, it's okay to say that something's going incorrectly in your life. Because guess what? Chances are every one of us have something that's going wrong in one of our lives as well. But, this conversation came from the comment that, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. Again, it's an onboarding call with one of our new VIP members. So it's like, look, this group's only as powerful as you make it, right? It would be a waste of money, if we're being honest, if you never associated yourself with any of the members, if you never engaged with anything, if you never showed up for the calls, right? Like, if you didn't put forth the effort. But part of that is, being transparent, being vulnerable about your weaknesses or the problems that you're facing, right? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. Like, we're not mind readers. We're not just going to automatically come knock on your door and be like, hey, we're here to fix all your problems. So we were talking about that. And when, it's a great environment when this is a ecosystem of like-minded men in the fact that we all want to get 1% better every day in all areas of our life. And with that being said, sometimes we have to be honest about the current state that we are in order to get that direction and in order to get pushed towards that path. And the awesome thing about having a community like this is it's intimidating as fuck at first to tell what you would assume from an outside looking in, that like, oh man, these guys are super successful, or these guys have the perfect life, or these guys do this, or yada, yada, yada. When in reality, you start seeing that what we look at that's portrayed as success is really some dude that's just fired up and willing to talk about his shortcomings, because that's the way of improvement. That's the way of personal and professional development. And it's that person that looks successful that's the one that has figured it out, that it's okay to talk about the problems that you're having and finding solutions to those problems and admitting where you're wrong and admitting the learning opportunities that you had and showing others, the way. That's how you get to, being successful, right? Again, focusing on getting 1% better. That's the journey to the top 1%. That's what we're aiming for, that top 1 percentile. And it's just been really, really incredible to see all this come to fruition and to see some of these guys who a few months ago or even a few weeks ago were bringing problems to the table, being vulnerable, breeding the opportunity for someone else to see them be vulnerable and then get the courage to be vulnerable themselves. And all these different men from all walks of life, from all ranges, from all stereotypes to all, every ethnicity, every social circle, like it's just incredible to see them to come together to start down this path of admitting where they've fallen, admitting, what they've had to learn the hard way, and finding solutions so that they don't keep repeating the same things over and over, and allowing the information that they've gathered to potentially impact someone else's life. And, part of that is once you get into an ecosystem like this, and it doesn't have to be Uncaged, I highly encourage everyone listening, male, female, whatever, the business owner, self-employed, employed, investor, whatever the case is, like to find a circle of people that have your back that seriously. And it's going to lead me into really with the main topic of this podcast I'm going to say here in a second is you start to put yourself in the mindset of understanding why things happen. You might not necessarily understand at the time in the heat of the moment, but you understand, like, at the end of the day, these are all learning lessons. These are all opportunities for you to evaluate what's happening, what got us here, where it's leading, what the problem is, what the solution is, and move forward with a new foot in front of the other with a clear mind and understanding to never have to stumble across that, objection or obstacle again, right? And it's been something that's been massively impactful. It was a previous episode on this podcast where I talked about that, like enjoying the journey, like knowing with massive uncertainty that Uncaged is going to fulfill all my wildest dreams and our VIP members' dreams, and knowing that it's set up to do so, and just having that clarity of understanding the journey that we're on now and understanding that some things take time. And that's all we're doing is we're not sitting down on the couch and not doing anything and not applying ourselves. Like, we're still working, but understanding that this work takes that 1% better daily, that compounding growth to grow and grow and grow. We're planting the seeds. Now we're watering it, harvesting it, and we're letting this crop grow. And that's what we're actively doing right now. And kind of leveraging that conversation into today's topic, and talking about the growth that I've seen in some of these men in Uncaged, where, they've presented the problem, we've come up with a solution, as a collective group, they've applied themselves, and then, lo and behold, a few months later, that is no longer a problem on their radar. That is now, they have found the solution, they found the resolve, they adapted and pivoted in their lives to accommodate whatever that was. And now we're on to the next project, right? We're on to the next, check mark, the next obstacle, the next opportunity, the next chapter, whatever that looks like for you in your personal life. But that leads me to today's topic, which is something that's kind of as literally like I'm experiencing as I'm recording this, even as soon as just a few minutes before I stepped into this studio. And it's the point is, and I'm a Christian. I'm very, very open about that. I don't have anything to hide. But this doesn't even have to be religious. Like, there's something that you believe in, whether that's God or karma or Buddha or Gandhi or Mother Earth or energies or whatever it is that you believe in. Most people, I would imagine we would agree, like, believe in some sort of ultimate energy or being where everything happens for a reason, right? That is something, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times between my wife and I, is we go through some sort of hardship or whatever the case is, and we understand that everything happens for a reason. Mentioned it kind of earlier today, is like once on the episode, like once we understand this, Now, instead of us searching for the hatred, searching for the anger, searching for the negativity, we start searching for the answer. We start searching for a fix. We start searching for a way to adapt to what we experienced and apply it to our life so that it never happens again, right? Or maybe that we save someone else from following those footsteps or whatever. But throughout this process, understanding that the future, whatever is written in the future, knowing that future, those footprints that our feet are going to fit in down this journey to the top 1% are going to, at some point, there's going to be obstacles or opportunities that appear because of things that are going on in our lives now. And just understanding, again, that this is part of it. And sometimes you may be dealing with something, a hardship, that is really confusing to you right now. You don't understand it. You don't know why you're dealing with it. I talked a lot about this in my book, One Foot in Front of the Other, but there's going to be things that come up in your life where you're just kind of stuck in awe, and you're in this awkward place between conscious and subconscious, reality and not, and you're wondering what is happening or where the future is going to go or what's going to unfold due to this current circumstance. And now I'm not going through that currently. At the time of this recording, like I mentioned earlier, I went through that about a year ago. And something that I went through about a year ago is all coming to fruition now, is all being brought to light now. And it was a very intense situation, like I said, about a year ago, where I was really stuck wondering what, how, why, what the fuck. Like, I was very, very confused at a lot of different things. Attempting to take a deep dive into my own personal life and wondering who I was, wondering if I was the problem, wondering if I was the bad guy, because at the end of the day, I knew who I was, but in my head, I literally could not make out any logical explanation or understanding of why this thing was happening and how we had gotten here, what I had did wrong to be in that position that I was in, or anything. I was extremely confused for a long time. And it got to the point where that confusion, that disorientation led me to finding myself, to understanding who I was, to understanding that I had a voice enough to know that I am the man that I am. I know who the fuck I am, and to have the confidence to be able to speak on it against, at the time, looked like massive adversity. The thing that I was battling the most was, in my eyes at the time, much larger than who I was, right? It was a huge obstacle. And you fast forward to where we are now, where these things are unraveling and opportunities are presenting themselves and things are being washed clean and truth is coming out. It's been an incredible reflection time for me to know that all of this was supposed to happen. All of this, for one reason or another, was the path that I was supposed to take. And so reflecting back on this, looking at all the lessons that I learned along the way. Like I said, it's been about a year. So a year's worth of lessons and opportunities and things that it was my responsibility to understand. And one of the takeaways that I have from this is understanding these things live and in the moment, and knowing like these are parts of the process, that everything happens for a reason, that that future version of ourselves, that future path, those future footprints, footholds are already there. We've got to get there now, right? And I don't want it to run too parallel to the previous episode that I had on this, although I think that one, again, is still one of the coolest realizations that I've had in a long time. But this one it runs so well with it in understanding that these things that we're facing, it's going to be difficult to understand it at the time on why me, why us, why this, why now, and looking for, and mind you, I know that there's some very real and very tough stories out there, and there's some moments, unfortunately, that no one will ever be able to make sense of why we have to deal with these things. But for the majority of the people that I've talked to that have gone through horrific situations, is you look back and realize that there was a lesson there, and there was something to take away from it, and there was opportunities for us to take that information and help others with it. In Uncaged and our VIP, we have expert calls every week, and this last expert call came to us. We were talking about health, and this guy, I'm going to butcher some of the numbers, but it's just want you to understand, like, that people's like this lives are out there and stories like this are out there. But anyways, he went down a holistic, physical and internal health path. He's a cellular specialist now. Shout out Andrew Carlson. But this dude underwent some faulty surgeries. And those faulty surgeries, it was a snowball of effects of things that had happened negatively based on the medication and some of the surgeries that they were doing to kind of fix this situation. Long story short, it led to him having multiple open heart surgeries with zero anesthesia. Multiple. It led to him multiple times having a defibrillator inside of him that shocked him north of 150 times. Some really, really insane stuff. And I cannot imagine being in his position, dealing with the things that he dealt with. Like, that is so mind blowing. Like, I can't even comprehend that level of pain and anxiety and depression and fear. I can't imagine it. And multiple times on the call with him, because of the level of knowledge he's acquired and gained since those instances and applying his life to being a cellular specialist, is multiple times on the call, all I could say was, I hate that happened to you, but thank you so much for now taking the information that you learned and giving it out to people in the world to try and help make this world a better place, right? Like, I cannot relate to that, and I've never been in that amount of pain, but if you've read my book and you've heard the story about my motorcycle wreck, it's one, and just the whole life story in general with the baby and that wasn't mine and the motorcycle wreck and losing everything, and yeah, everyone's got a rags to riches story, yeah. But like, when I talk about this book publicly, whether I'm in a speaking event or someone's read it and they come up to me and talked about it, like, and we're talking some high level not high level, but like some people that have similar stories. My bad. That's what I meant. Like, I've talked to people that, like, I talked to a gentleman who was locked up for 6 years, over 2,000 days. He was incarcerated for a crime he didn't commit. It ended up, being found out that he didn't commit it, got released. And like, when we were exchanging stories, he's listening to my story, cringing the whole time. I'm listening to his story, and I'm cringing the whole time, right? There's these people that go through things that to you seem astronomical. They seem unbearable. They seem like there's that they aren't strong enough to withstand what it was that you did. And vice versa, if you were to go tell your story to them, they're going to be doubled over. They're going to be cringed out. They're going to be the ones that think that that's an impossible feat, right? So we all have our stories. And I can tell you that the ones that wear it the best are the ones that realize that there was a lesson inside of it, that it happened for a reason. And they were able to take that information and apply it to their future so that it never happened to them again, or it didn't happen to someone that they loved, or it just didn't happen to a human being. You know, I would never wish what happened to Andrew on anyone. I wouldn't wish what happened to me on anyone. Like, I don't want to see anyone go through that. You know, I'm never someone to wish for another man to fall. I don't ever want to see that. Like, I feel like we all come together and work together, humanity would be a different place. And part of that's understanding that I've got a fucking story and so do you. And the difference is when we start to understand that those stories are for a reason, that those situations were for a reason, that we experienced that for a reason, and it was an opportunity to make our lives better. And again, there's some I got some stories that like I can't even talk about, that are mind blowing, that I can't comprehend, me personally, what the lesson would be. Nor honestly, I wouldn't even want to be the person learning that lesson. Don't know what I would do if roles were reversed. But again, I can't tell you how many times I've been talking with someone in person and heard a story where, again, I couldn't comprehend it, but as soon as they hear mine, they can't comprehend it, right? So we are all in our own lane. We're all on our own journey. And part of, you know, again, to bring this back full circle is, as we're going down these paths, things are happening. Things are going to happen. Things did happen. And it's all a part of the process. And again, whatever it is you believe in, if you understand that, and you understand that adversity is how we grow, because, you know, Brendan Brittingham said this one time, you know, you've never seen a clean jersey during a championship. So, like, things are going to happen in order for you to grow. Things are going to impact you differently. And the sooner we get to the point where we can start picking up on what's happening sooner than later, because we understand that it's a part of the process. You know, obviously any of these negative situations or painful situations or just unpleasant situations, the sooner we can learn that lesson, so the more observant that we are, that when these lessons come up, that they're lessons, that they're not things that are happening to us, they're things that are happening for us. As soon as we can understand that, the quicker we can learn to look for those answers, we can look for the lesson, the sooner we can get out of that situation and move on with our lives and then make it to the next learning opportunity. And we're going to go through something else again. And then the quicker we can recognize it, the quicker we can learn from it, the quicker we can move on. And then there's going to be another situation, another situation. And these situations, they don't get any easier. You just get stronger. And typically when that happens, you start looking at sports. You start looking at any type of competition. You start looking at whatever the case is, getting graded on a curve, whatever. The better you get, the better your opponent gets. And so some of these situations that used to be life-changing in your past, they still happen, but they don't impact you anymore because you've grown from it. You're stronger than that. You're at a different level. Now you're fighting different demons, harder demons, bigger demons, more of them. You're at a different level. And you're fighting your own battles right here, right now, but it's all a part of it. And these battles that you're fighting are to learn these lessons. because these lessons are what prepare you to fight that future battle. And you're going to learn something from that future battle, and then you're going to be on to the next and on to the next. And I'm not here to say that life always has to be hard. Life's always got to be some negative situation. Life's always got, I don't want to put a name on it, but like, you don't always have to go out of your way to make your life hard, right? But part of that is learning lessons along the way to make you smarter, to make you better, to make you stronger, to give you the opportunities to think for yourself, to think a different way, to involve yourself with other people who have the answers, to push yourself out of your comfort zone and become that greatest version of yourself, right? And it's all a part of it. And you've got to understand that, and you've got to comprehend it, and you've got to honestly internalize it for yourself and find the best way that works for you to be able to apply this to your life so that you can adapt to adversity as it shows up, because it's coming. You know it is. And if it's a situation right here, right now that you're going through, you've got to be able to calm yourself down. You've got to be strong enough, man enough to do that, to pull yourself back to reality and understand that this right here is a fucking test. And it's between the test and it's between you to see who is the baddest motherfucker. This is your time. It's your opportunity and it's your responsibility to figure that out. So I'm here. I'm rooting for you. All the guys in Uncaged are rooting for you. If you're not in Uncaged yet, definitely check out the free group first. See if we're the type of people that you want to be running with. See if we're the type of men that you would like to consider, you know, your ecosystem, your community. We're here for you. The VIP group is absolutely incredible. It's just, man, I don't know what I'd do without those guys or where I would be, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope this meant something to you. If you did, I don't need the likes. I don't need the shares. I mean, I'll take them. Obviously, I love knowing that I'm doing good and that this message is connecting with people. But even if none of that happens, if you could just take this information and verbally, again, this isn't about likes and shares and comments. And I just want to impact the world one person at a time. So if this meant something for you, I'd appreciate it if you just turned around, took this information, and just went and told one other person. Give them the opportunity to learn this that you just learned here today. Take this nugget, pass it on, keep this movement going. That's what Uncaged is about. There's no egos here in Uncaged. We just want to be the difference we want to see in the world. We want to go out there, make ourselves open and available for people, men that are looking for opportunities to grow and become 1% better. So, guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me for the past 30 minutes. This is something that I care truly about. I think it's going to impact a lot of people, and it all comes down to someone like you being able to take this information, pass it on with someone else that might need it. So, guys, my name is Zack Williams. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Uncaged Podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.